Mindset, a daily dose of practical wit and wisdom with a professional educator and trainer, Amazon best-selling author, United States Marine, television and radio host, Paul G. Markel. Each episode will focus on positive and productive ways to strengthen your mindset and help you improve your relationships, career goals, and overall well-being. Please welcome your host, Paul G. Markel.
Welcome back to Morning Mindset. I hope you're ready to listen because I'm ready to talk. And I'm your host, Paul Markel. One of the I don't know if it's the joys of moving or something. Not all of you would say that it's a joy, but you get to go through all of your stuff. You have to take inventory of your stuff. Now, my family and I, we not only moved an entire business, but we moved 2 households all the way across the country last year. And when you do that, especially if you've been in a house for 5 years or 6 years or 10 years or more, you find out that you got a lot of stuff. And it's time to take inventory of that stuff. And that's what we did. We packed up everything, an entire business and 2 households, and we had to go through it, and we had to decide what is worth transporting 2,000 miles. You pick things up, you open cupboards, and you find things, you're like, holy cow, I haven't used this for 5 years, or I can't even remember where we got this. Honey, where did we get this? I don't even know where this came from. Do we need this? And that's what we did. We went through and we did a hard inventory of pretty much everything that we owned. We inventoried it and we picked it up, we looked at it, whether it was a couch or a chair or a knick-knack or what have you, and we had to say to ourselves or to each other, depending, do I need this? Is this worth loading up in a truck and transporting 2,000 miles away? Because we only had so much space, and everything we had wasn't going to go. Some things had to be sacrificed. Some things had to be left behind. So we took inventory of all of the physical things that we owned. And many of those physical things that we owned were either sold or given away or donated to the Goodwill or what have you. Let me tell you what, it was good to be a friend of mine about 1.5 years ago, because I was giving away lots of stuff. Didn't even have the time to sell it or what have you, or even put it on eBay. If you were a friend of mine, you got away like a bandit, because there was a lot of stuff, especially lawn tools and so on and so forth, that just could not make the trip. So we took inventory of the physical things that we owned in our life. Now, when we talk about taking inventory, most of the time we think, all right, what do we have? What do we own? What things do we possess? Every single year, every company that sells a product, that manufactures a product, that distributes a product, that sells a product, what do they have to do? They take inventory. They figure out what they have now compared to what they used to have. Do they have more? Do they have less? So on and so forth. And if you work in one of those places, you know what I'm talking about. You know all about taking inventory. Now, since we have moved, we put everything in totes, and we'd been packing boxes and Rubbermaid totes for probably 6 months prior to when we actually moved. So now here we are, a ways later, over 1 year later, and I find myself retaking inventory, taking inventory again, going into these totes and these boxes, digging through them and saying, oh man, I forgot I even had that. I didn't even remember that I had that. And often when I find little knickknacks or pieces or parts or components or what have you, it inspires me. And I think, you know what, I really could use that. Or I've been looking for something just like that, and I'm glad I found it. We take physical inventory of the things that we own and possess pretty frequently. But how often do we take inventory of our own lives? Yes, indeed. Taking inventory of your life. Where are you today there as compared to where you were a year ago or 2 years ago or 5 years ago. If you went to college and got yourself a degree and now you're further down the road, it's a good time to take inventory and say, okay, this is what I had planned to do when I was going through school. These were my plans. I wanted to do blank, 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 blank. Those were my goals. Remember previously we talked about goals and goal setting. When you take inventory of your life, you actually examine those goals. You say, am I closer to achieving those goals? Have I achieved those goals? Am I able to put a check mark next to those goals? And if I have, let's say that you had some short-term goals or some mid-term goals, and you've achieved them. Fantastic. That is excellent. Take inventory of your life. Realize that you've achieved your goals. Appreciate that fact. And now you get to ask yourself, now that that goal has been achieved, what's the next one? Where am I going to go from here? You know, when you were in school, I bet you when you were a teenager or in your early 20s, maybe some of you are right now, you had big time goals. And there were certain things, you know, achievements in your life that if you could just get that far, you would think, man, I've achieved. I've gotten there. Have you gotten there? And if you have, now might be time to be thinking a little bit bigger. So it's kind of like strength training. You know, you start strength training and you're picking up steel and it's heavy. And it's heavy for you because you've never done it before. And you have goals. You say, I want to do 200 pounds. I want to do 250 pounds. I want to do 300 pounds. And then you get there and you realize, wow, man, a year ago, 250 pounds was a good goal. But I'm past that now. So what is it time to do? It's time to take inventory of what you're doing, of your life, and come up with some new goals. Perhaps you might take inventory and come up short. That's another reason that we take inventory in business, because we think, you know, the books say that we're supposed to have 150 units out there in the warehouse on the shelves. That's what the books say. But what is reality? You go out there, and even though the book says you're supposed to have 150, or the computer program or the inventory sheet or whatever, it says, yeah, there's 150 out there. And you go out, yourself and a couple other people, and you start physically touching, and you find out that you don't have 150 units, you got 138. You're missing some. Where did they go? When you take inventory of your life, you might be thinking, all right, on my path, my goal, it said I was going to do this and this and this. I'm not there yet. I haven't achieved that goal yet, even though my plan was to have done that. Why haven't I? Why have I not achieved that goal? Why haven't I got there? When you take inventory of your life, you realize that's a good time to say, well, the reason I'm not here is because blank. You know, maybe you were planning on, you know, owning your own home or starting a business or what have you, and something happened in your life, and it didn't happen. All right, fine, fantastic. Take note of that thing, readjust, and move forward. And that's what you do. Take inventory of your life, not just the physical things that you own, but your achievements and your goals. Where are you now and where are you going? That's all part of your life inventory. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for checking out all of my books on Amazon and Kindle. It's Paul Markel. You can pick up the Honey Badger book, the Intolerant Christian book. Yes, I have one called Faith in the Patriot, A Belief Worth Fighting For. Got several books. You might want to check those out. And like I said, if you have the Kindle Unlimited app on your phone already, fantastic, because you can add it to your list, add many of my books to your list at no extra cost. I am your host, Paul Markel, and I'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for spending time with us today. To get show notes, submit a topic request, and for more from your host, Paul G. Markel, visit morningmindsetpodcast.com. That's morningmindsetpodcast.com. Please leave a review for this podcast on your favorite podcast player. We appreciate your time and effort, and we look forward to reading your honest feedback.